Hi, this is Ms. Klemme, and welcome to this screencast on the particular reading strategy called writing in the margins. This is something that's going to prove really helpful throughout the course of this year and as you move on to read harder and more challenging textbooks. But what I'm going to show you in this screencast is actually how to really get the most out of this strategy. Because oftentimes when I assign this particular strategy, this is the only opportunity you will get to work with this material. So you want to really take your time and do a good job on this strategy, and you'll learn quite a bit from it because you'll be able to look at the text from several different angles. So I'm going to actually show you how I would do this, and I'm going to be working with page 111 in your Visual Anatomy textbook. But before we do that, let's actually go to look at the strategy and how we use it. Alright, so as you can see, here we are for the writing in the margins strategy. And we're going to look at the text from several different ways, from actually 4 different angles. And the first thing you can see is interpret. This is going to be really critical because this allows you to look at the text just from the visuals. So if you're interpreting, you're looking at what information does the visual provide and how does it relate to the rest of the text. Another angle you can look at the text is through summarizing, and that's pretty obvious what we're doing. What's the main idea? What's most important? What is the really essential information? After that, a lot of vocabulary is found in anatomy, so we will be defining those major terms and concepts. And finally, question, you can look at 2 different ways. You can look at it as a way to check yourself to make sure that you are understanding the information correctly. You can ask yourself a question, or you can ask your instructor a question at this point. So let me go back to the text and let's begin our writing in the margins. So, as we begin, I would simply just start reading the cell life cycle. The period between fertilization and physical maturity involves tremendous changes in organization and complexity. At fertilization, a single cell is all there is. At maturity, your body has roughly 75 trillion cells. Cell division makes this transformation possible. Now at this point I ask you read the rest of this. So if you could take a moment to pause the video and read not only the paragraphs of text but also the captions and visuals on page 111. And now we're going to come back here, and here's what I took from the text. I obviously summarized. I gave 2 main ideas of the summary, what cell division is and used for, and then the 2 types of cell division. I interpreted the big pie chart, the figure in the middle, and so the cell cycle is 75% interphase, 25% mitosis and cytokinesis. I defined interphase, I defined mitosis. And lastly, I asked myself a question to make sure I understood the material correct. Now, what you're going to do after you implement writing in the margins and you complete the table using several different angles of analysis of that text is that you're going to combine those into a summary. And so my summary reads, in order to grow and repair, cells must divide. One such type of cell division is mitosis. Now I go on to define that, where 2 daughter cells containing 46 chromosomes each are produced. However, a cell is not always undergoing mitosis. In fact, in the entire cell cycle, most of the cell's time is spent in interphase performing cell functions. So there I not only defined interphase, but I also interpreted the visual. About 25% of the cycle is actually spent in mitosis and cytokinesis. In mitosis, chromosomes are copied and distributed to each daughter cell, while cytokinesis physically divides the cytoplasm for each new daughter cell. So if we go back to the writing in the margins, you can see that I covered most everything that was in my table. So ultimately, when you're using writing in the margins, your instructor is going to look that you use a variety of different approaches for each section of text. Are you interpreting? Are you also defining? Are you summarizing? Are you putting all of those angles into one cohesive paragraph at the end? So that's a look at how you use writing in the margins.